Welcome, our dear listeners, to Dreams Podcast, your gateway to deciphering your daily dreams, with the wisdom of Ibn Sirin and Al-Nabulsi. Follow us.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Okay, so today we're really diving into something fascinating. It's the Owonu, the introduction of this, potentially captivating book on dream interpretation.
Right. And dreams. I mean, who hasn't woken up just wondering, what was that all about? That curiosity about what happens when we sleep.
Exactly. It's pretty universal, isn't it? That feeling of, okay, that was weird. What did it mean?
Totally.
And this intro, this uwun, that sort of sets the book up as maybe a guide, like a reference point to help figure out those, sometimes really bizarre dreams.
So what's the core idea then? What's the book's main hook, according to this intro?
Well, the really interesting thing that Yuan points out straight away is that it's not just about one big name in dream interpretation. No, it actually pulls together the work of two major historical figures. So you're getting like a double perspective.
Okay, that is intriguing. Two figures. So who are we talking about?
Right. So the first one is probably the name most people associate with this field, Muhammad Ibn Sirin.
Ibn Sirin. Okay. Early Islamic figure, died 110 AH, was it?
That's the one. Early 2nd century Hijri. So yeah, early 8th century CE.
And he was a Tabi'i.
Exactly. A successor of the Prophet's companions, a major religious scholar in Basra. And the intro really stresses his reputation for piety, but also, crucially for us, his skill in interpreting visions.
Right, Ibn Sirin, kind of the bedrock. Okay, so who's the second figure? You said this is where it gets interesting.
It really does,
Yeah.
because the second name the Uchus brings in is Abd al-Ghani ibn Ismail al-Nabulsi.
Al-Nabulsi, wow, okay. He's much, much later, isn't he?
Way later.
Yeah.
Died 1143 AH. So you're looking at, over 1,000 years separating them?
A millennium. That's incredible. It's like bridging, I don't know, the world of Bede with the world of Voltaire or something. Huge span.
Exactly. It's a massive historical leap. And al-Nabulsi, he was different too. A Sufi scholar, known for being incredibly prolific, a writer, a poet. The intro mentions his vast output.
So the obvious question then is, why? Why pair these two? Someone from the dawn of Islamic scholarship and someone from, the Ottoman era, effectively. What's the connection the book or the compiler is trying to make?
Yeah, the Uwudu doesn't spell it out in, a thesis statement, but you get this strong sense of integration. That seems to be the idea.
Integration. How so?
It feels like they're trying to give you this panoramic view. You start with Ibn Sirin as this foundational pillar, this early authority.
Okay, the starting point.
Right. And then you bring in Al-Nabulsi to add maybe the developments, the details, the nuances that emerged over that massive stretch of time.
So it's like seeing the tradition evolve, maybe.
Yeah.
From the roots to much further down the line.
I think that's the implication.
Right.
And, the introduction uses this really striking phrase about the compiler's work. It says, ECI Ibn Al Fa.
Jema Faha. He gathered and he encompassed. Or gathered comprehensively, something like that.
Exactly. Gathered comprehensively. The feeling is that the compiler really trying to pull everything relevant together, aiming for, real thoroughness.
So not leaving stones unturned, trying to make it as complete a collection as possible from these two key sources.
Precisely. That seems to be the goal highlighted right there in the intro. Okay, so let's unpack this for a moment. You've got this huge historical sweep, over 1,000 years of interpretation packed in here.
Right.
If you're just someone listening, maybe you had a weird dream last night, how do you even begin to approach that? It could sound, pretty overwhelming.
That's a fair point. And it's something the OU actually seems very aware of. It makes a point of mentioning the compiler's work wasn't just about gathering.
So there was more to it.
Yeah, it emphasizes the effort put into organizing it all and, crucially, simplifying it for the reader.
Okay, simplification is good. How do they do that? How do you make 1,000 years of dream interpretation simple?
Well, the key thing the intro mentions is alphabetical order.
Alphabetical, like a dictionary.
Exactly, like a dictionary of dream symbols or topics. I, E, L, F, E, L, P, S, A, O, C, S, S, A, E, O, Tin.
Oh, okay. A, B, C. So you dreamt of a lion, you look up L. That makes sense. That's practical.
Very practical. And the other thing the movie points to is explaining tricky words. If there are terms in the interpretations themselves that might be archaic or obscure to a modern reader,
Yeah, explain.
they apparently provide explanations for those as well. So again, trying to smooth the path for the reader.
So the goal wasn't just some dense scholarly tome then. It sounds like a conscious effort to make it genuinely useful for, well, pretty much anyone interested.
That definitely seems to be the vibe, reaching out to a wider audience who are just curious about this stuff.
And does the intro actually say who that audience is, who they had in mind?
It does, yeah. It lists them out. Comes up, down.
Okay, so students of knowledge, the intellectual public, and the general public. That's everybody, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. From researchers digging deep to, like you said, someone who just had a dream that's stuck in their head and they want to get a handle on it.
So the book is positioned as this reliable but also accessible reference, not just for the experts.
Exactly. A practical tool, that's the feeling, but one with this really strong historical and scholarly backbone. That's the core message coming through.
Okay, so summing up the introduction's pitch, it's presenting this book as a serious, respectable effort.
Definitely. One that compiles and, importantly, simplifies this huge body of knowledge on dream interpretation.
Built primarily on these two massive figures, Ibn Sirin and Al-Nabulsi.
Separated by 1,000 years.
And organized so that you, the reader, can hopefully make sense of it all.
Right. Presented in a clear, navigable way. But, thinking about that huge time gap, it does raise a question, doesn't it?
Oh, go on. What are you thinking?
Well, you've got Ibn Sirin in the 8th century and Al-Nabulsi in the, 17th, 18th century? Over 1,000 years apart. So, does the meaning of a dream symbol, let's take something simple, like, say, water or maybe a lion, does that meaning stay exactly the same across that enormous stretch of history?
Huh. That's a really good question. Could the interpretation shift, as society changes, culture changes, just the everyday world people lived in changed so much between those two eras?
Exactly. Could the way people understood, say, a lion in Basra in 700 CE be different from how someone in Damascus understood it in 1700 CE? And if so, how does a book like this handle that?
Does it kind of flatten the differences, or does it maybe show that evolution? Or maybe some symbols are timeless?
Wow. Right. It makes you think about how our dreams connect or maybe disconnect with the historical reality we're living in.
That really opens up a whole new way to think about not just the book, but dreams themselves, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely something to chew on.
Thank you for following Dreams Podcast to decipher more of your dreams' codes. Follow us on Dreams Podcast. See you in the next episode, and sweet dreams.